Hi, I'm Amanda, a 34-year-old interior designer with a flair for transforming spaces into breathtaking environments. The dining room buzzed with the soft clinking of fine china and the gentle murmur of conversation. Eric poured his father, John, another glass of wine, while Mary, his mother, praised the roasted lamb I had meticulously prepared all afternoon. The atmosphere felt almost festive, yet an undercurrent of tension simmered beneath the surface as the annual family vacation loomed ahead. "So where are we thinking this year? Paris? Tokyo?" chimed in Lucy, Eric's younger sister, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Peter, the eldest sibling, was absorbed in his phone, likely browsing flight options and hotel reviews. He looked up momentarily, suggesting, "What about somewhere tropical? Bali or Thailand?" I took a deep breath, seizing the moment. "Actually, I was hoping you could all come to my vacation home on the coast. It's serene, spacious, and right on the beach, a perfect getaway." The room fell silent for a heartbeat as John and Mary exchanged a glance. Mary finally spoke, her tone laced with polite dismissal. "Oh, that's a lovely offer, Amanda, but we were thinking of something a bit more exotic this year. Your place is wonderful, but you know how the kids are. They love exploring new countries." Eric nodded, oblivious to the slight. "Yeah, Amanda's place is great for a weekend, but think of the adventures we could have overseas." Their words stung, and I felt the familiar sensation of standing on the outskirts of their family circle. "Of course I understand. Just thought I'd offer," I managed, forcing a smile to mask my disappointment. Peter finally put his phone down and declared, "Let's vote then. Who's for going abroad?" Hands shot up around the table, almost choreographed, all for Thailand, while mine remained raised half-heartedly, alone. "Well, that's settled then. Thailand, here we come," Lucy exclaimed, clapping her hands with glee. The rest of the dinner blurred into laughter and plans for a trip I felt increasingly excluded from. Under the table, Eric squeezed my hand. "Thanks for trying, honey. We'll go another time, just us." As they animatedly discussed temples and exotic food, I withdrew into my thoughts, feeling like a castaway in my own home. I had offered a piece of my world, only to have it quietly rejected. The message was clear. I was good enough for dinners, but not for their holidays. After the dishes were cleared and the last goodbyes exchanged, Eric retreated to his study, humming a tune, while I lingered to clean up the remnants of the evening. The rejection felt personal, a verdict on my place among them. But I resolved not to let it tarnish the life Eric and I had built. They might not see me as one of their own, but I wouldn't let that diminish my worth or the love I had for my husband. Alone in the quiet aftermath, I realized it was time to stop seeking their approval and start setting my own terms. I wasn't sure how that would unfold, but as I switched off the lights and headed to bed, a defiant spark ignited within me. I began to plot a summer they wouldn't forget at my beautiful, serene beach house. A few days later, John called, his usual calm demeanor tinged with desperation. "Hey, Amanda. We hit a snag with our Thailand booking. There's been a mix-up with the dates, and everything is full because of the festival. We were wondering if we could take you up on your offer for the beach house." Still feeling the sting of their earlier dismissal, I paused, a plan brewing. "Oh, that's unfortunate, but of course, the house is available. I'd be happy to host you all." "You're a lifesaver, Amanda. We really appreciate it." After hanging up, I turned to Eric, who looked equally surprised. "They want to stay at our beach house now, after voting it down." "Looks like fate has its own plans," I said, already envisioning the little surprises I'd arranged for their stay the following weekend. Under the guise of preparing the house, I installed hidden cameras in the common areas, not to spy, but to capture their reactions to the inconveniences I had planned. The thermostat was set to a chilly 60 degrees, and I left notes about a fictitious issue with the hot water heater, just to give them a taste of the adventure. "They want to stay at my beach house," I told Eric as I programmed the smart home system to sporadically flicker the lights in the evenings. He chuckled, though a nervous edge crept into his laughter. "You're not going to make it too harsh, are you?" "Just some harmless fun. Let's see if they notice the difference between an exotic getaway and my boring beach house." When John, Mary, Peter, and Lucy arrived, I greeted them with a warm smile. "Make yourselves at home. Just a heads up, the water heater can be a bit quirky, so let it run for a bit before you expect hot water." "Thanks for letting us use the place, Amanda," Mary said, her voice carrying a hint of reluctance, perhaps recalling their earlier rejection. "No problem at all. Hope you find it relaxing," I replied, masking the irony in my tone. After ensuring they were settled, Eric and I excused ourselves, citing urgent work projects that conveniently required our attention back in the city. Once they were alone, I couldn't resist checking the live feed from the cameras. The first event unfolded during their initial dinner when Peter launched into a well-loved family story. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into confusion. Muffled curses and startled shouts filled the air until Lucy discovered the candles I had strategically placed in the kitchen. "Guess the house really wants us to have an authentic experience," she joked nervously, the flickering candlelight casting uncertain shadows across her face. Over the following days, I watched as the family navigated each minor inconvenience. John fumbled with the thermostat, eventually wrapping himself in a sweater I had left draped over a chair. Mary muttered about the capricious hot water, her frustration mounting. Their tension peaked when they planned a day out on the water, only to discover that I had hidden the key to the boat and left a cryptic note, hinting that it was somewhere obvious. They spent half the day searching, their frustration palpable with every failed attempt. As I observed from a distance, a twinge of guilt mingled with my satisfaction. This was more than mere payback. It was a lesson in humility and respect served in the setting they had so easily dismissed. "The water heater's gone off again." Mary's voice was sharp with irritation as another cold draft swept through the beach house. "Can someone check the thermostat? It's freezing in here." Peter, shivering under a blanket, grumbled back, "I've reset it 3 times already, and these lights won't stop flickering." "This was supposed to be a relaxing vacation, Amanda. Any ideas?" Lucy's voice crackled through the speakerphone, a mix of hope and irritation threading her tone. "Oh, that's odd. It was working fine before you arrived. Maybe check the circuit breaker. I'll send someone over when I can, but with the storm, it might take a while." My voice remained calm and detached, as if I were discussing someone else's problems, not the chaos I had orchestrated. As the winds picked up outside, the family's mood soured further. John attempted to rally everyone's spirits. "Come on, let's not let this spoil our trip. How about some board games by candlelight?" "Great idea, Dad. Except the games are in the basement, which last I checked is starting to flood." Peter shot back, sarcasm dripping from his words and eliciting a groan from Mary. The storm outside intensified, rattling windows and doors as if echoing the growing turmoil within. Lucy tried to find a working flashlight when another gust slammed a window shut, plunging the room into darkness. "This is ridiculous. We should have just stayed home." Mary's voice echoed through the pitch-black room, her fear and frustration palpable. "Mom, nobody could have predicted this weather," Lucy replied, her voice strained as she finally found a flashlight, its weak beam just sufficient to cut through the darkness. The following morning, the storm showed no signs of letting up. John called again, desperation creeping into his tone. "Amanda, we're thinking of cutting the trip short. It's too much with the power out, and now there's a leak in the ceiling. Any chance you can help us get out of here?" "I'll see what I can do, John. I'll try to arrange something despite the storm. Stay safe, and I'll update you soon." Hanging up, I couldn't help I felt a twinge of satisfaction mixed with a pang of guilt. They were getting a full taste of what it felt like to be disregarded. By the time I called back with news of a local who could drive them to the nearest town, the family was packed and more than ready to leave. Their departure was rushed and frazzled, leaving the once warm and inviting beach house in disarray. As their car disappeared down the storm-soaked road, the house fell silent. The cameras continued to record the empty rooms, now a testament to the week's orchestrated chaos. When the family returned home, their spirits were as dampened as the weather, leaving behind a trail of bickering and complaints that would surely echo in awkward family gatherings to come. Their discomfort was a direct result of my subtle manipulations, serving as a cold reminder of the importance of empathy and respect, lessons they would learn only after enduring what they had so carelessly imposed on others. The dining room was set with a comforting glow, the table laid out as if the past incidents at the beach house were just a distant memory. As John, Mary, Peter, and Lucy settled into their seats, the air was tinged with subtle tension. "Thanks for hosting dinner, Amanda. It's nice to try to end the trip on a positive note," John said, attempting a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Absolutely. I thought we could all use a bit of cheering up. I replied cheerfully. I have a little surprise for everyone. Some highlights from the vacation. Eric clicked the remote and the projector flickered to life. The first clips were benign, showing their arrival and initial excitement, laughter filling the room for a brief reprieve from the underlying awkwardness. But as the video progressed, the mood shifted. Footage of flickering lights, thermostat wars, and their frustrated searches played out on screen. Peter's laughter faltered. Wait, why did you record all this, Amanda? Just some memorable moments, I said, my tone light but my gaze steady as I watched their realization dawn. The last clip showed their hurried departure in a storm, and silence enveloped the room. Mary was the first to speak, confusion laced with suspicion. Amanda, was this all some kind of joke to you? It wasn't a joke, I began, the room hanging on my every word. It was a lesson, one about how it feels to be dismissed and disregarded, just as I felt when I offered my home for the vacation. Initially, Lucy looked down, shame coloring her cheeks. Amanda, I didn't realize we made you feel that excluded. John cleared his throat, visibly uncomfortable. We're truly sorry, Amanda. It seems we've taken your kindness for granted. I softened slightly, seeing their genuine remorse. I appreciate that. All I ask is for mutual respect. If that's not possible, then perhaps we should reconsider our future gatherings. Eric, who had been quiet until now, added his support. We need to ensure everyone feels valued in this family. That's non-negotiable. Mary nodded, her voice sincere. You're right, Amanda. We've learned our lesson, painfully but fairly. Can we move forward from this? I'm willing to move forward, but remember, any future disrespect will be a deal breaker for me. Dinner ended on a contemplative note, everyone reflecting inwardly on the evening's revelations. As John, Mary, Peter, and Lucy left, their goodbyes were more heartfelt, a promise of better efforts in their tones. Along with Eric, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Standing up for oneself doesn't always feel good, but it's necessary, I mused. And you did that beautifully, he said. They'll think twice before overlooking anyone again. The evening closed with a sense of closure and a new beginning, not just for me, but for the entire family dynamic. Respect, once overlooked, was now at the forefront of everyone's mind, a silent guardian of future interactions. And that wraps up our story. What do you think was Amanda's method of teaching her family a lesson about respect and inclusion justified, or do you think there were better ways to handle their disregard? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button